Hi, I'm Tim Ogden. I'm Managing Director of the Financial Access Initiative at NYU. We're a research center focused on how to make financial services serve poor households better around the world. The U.S. Financial Diaries project is a project undertaken by FAI with CFSI, the Center for Financial Services Innovation, that's really based on work that was done internationally, known for the Portfolios of the Poor book, where we tracked 250 American households for a year, trying to see all of their financial flows in and out and really understand how they're living their financial lives. We were visiting these families every 2 weeks to once a month to record every dollar in and every dollar out. And of course, you can't capture absolutely everything, but over the course of a year where you are able to gain these people's trust, you get to see a lot more and ask more questions and delve deeper. And so we feel like we've got some of the best information that's ever been accumulated on how people in these income brackets are living their financial lives. And so our sample is from about 1/3 households living just below the poverty line and 2/3 above the poverty line, up to the lower edges of the middle class, you could say. And we do think this is a population that is poorly understood in general, but it is remarkably relevant even much farther up the income stream based on what we see in general research about the number of people, American households, who are living paycheck to paycheck or with very small margin. And that's certainly what we see in a lot of our households, is that they're having to manage money on a paycheck to paycheck basis and often a weekly basis and even a daily basis to match up their income to their expenses. And that's where the role that financial services really has to play, is in helping people match up their income to their expenses when those things don't overlap, and they very rarely do. Trying to find how they're managing their financial lives. What products are they using? What services are they using? What are the challenges that they're encountering? How do they budget? How do they make ends meet? What happens when something goes wrong and they need to come up with a lot of money? How do they manage finances within their family and within the household, and benefits and taxes? What are their aspirations? How does financial literacy or other financial knowledge affect the choices that they make? How does a year go? So we finished data collection in December of 2013, and we're in the process now of a deep dive on analysis of that data. It's a lot of data, as you can imagine, from trying to collect everyone's cash flows for a year. So we started publishing some initial findings. We have some household profiles and some issue briefs, and we're going to be publishing a lot more over the next 6 months. All of that will be featured at the U.S. Financial Diaries website. But ultimately, we're trying to answer some of the big questions about how low and moderate income American households are living their lives as a whole, and what role financial services plays in that. Certainly, if this becomes just part of an academic project, we won't have met our goals. The idea is how do we actually make financial services work better for these households? At the same time, it's important to bring academic rigor to this. One of the reasons we engage in this project is because you see different things when you follow people over a long period of time, and when you're very rigorous about the data collection. When you look at snapshots, those are helpful, but a person's financial life at any point in time may not accurately reflect what it looks like over the course of a week or over a month. And particularly nationally, in the United States and developed countries, we tend to look at people on an annual basis. Did your annual income meet your annual expenses? But as you move down the income ladder, that's really way too large of a unit of analysis. These people are living their lives month to month, week to week, sometimes even day to day in terms of their cash flows. And so you really don't get a sense of what's going on and what they're doing unless you get to that level of understanding. Now, again, the reason you want to understand that is so that you can figure out where are the gaps and what do they need, so that you can design products that fit those needs. And so we are explicitly, the reason we are partnered in this work with the Center for Financial Services Innovation is because they've done the work for so long and are really the experts on product innovation in the financial services industry. And so the combination of FAI being an academic research center with CFSI being focused on the financial services industry and product development and product innovation allows us to bring both perspectives together and deliver something that is a lot more compelling. So it's hard to see. There are reasons to think if there's a market opportunity, somebody would have exploited it. But doing this research is time-consuming and expensive, and these are not highly profitable customers. That doesn't mean that they're not profitable customers. But if you have a choice between investing in a customer who's going to yield very high profits and one that is going to yield uncertain but probably lower profits, of course you're not going to invest first in the less profitable customer. At the same time, what we're seeing, particularly in the United States with these households, is that a lot of them are using some form of financial services. And so I think in a lot of cases, the existing financial services providers don't realize how much other services, particularly of the informal variety, that these households are using. So they don't know what they're missing. They think they may actually be serving these customers quite well. And if you don't sort of do this sort of detailed, in-depth look at how they're managing their lives, you may miss a lot. And we're certainly hopeful that we're waking people up to an understanding of the richness and the complexity of these people's financial lives. I think this was certainly my conception. I think it's a conception that a lot of people have, is that as you move down the income ladder, your financial life gets less complex and there's a lot less going on. And in fact, we see the exact opposite, is that people lower on the income ladder conduct a lot more transactions, and they have to have a much more complex financial life to make ends meet. But if you don't use those same kinds of services and have to do those same sort of things, it may not be apparent all of the work that those people are doing to manage their financial lives. And so you don't see the market opportunity because you don't see what's happening. I think we often give hindsight too much credit, is that when you see some of these opportunities, you think, oh, well, someone should have seen that earlier. But the fact is, there are a lot of gaps in our knowledge all over the world, and things that we don't see, we don't know that we don't see. And so I don't actually find it all that surprising that lots of banks don't know and haven't thought about the opportunities in serving customers like this and in serving them via the informal mechanisms that they invent for themselves. Everybody's got a whole lot to do and a lot of stuff on their mind, and there's a whole lot of information to process and different things to see. And so the history of innovation is you find a better way to measure something that you didn't know about, and that opens up a whole lot of innovation opportunities to you. And I think that's what we're seeing with some of this research that's coming out, is we've got better ways to measure and understand what people are doing, and once we have that, then we've laid the platform for innovation. But I don't actually find it surprising at all that people didn't know about something that was really hard to measure. Right? This was a huge undertaking for us to do 12 months of data gathering with 250 families. We spent several $1 million through the generosity of the Citi Foundation, the Ford Foundation, and Omidyar Network. And it was even more expensive than we thought it was going to be, and harder than we thought it was going to be, even after we'd had some experience doing it internationally. So in a market where you do have opportunity to capture customers from other and a known market opportunity, again, it's just never surprising that someone doesn't see market opportunities that are outside it. And that's why often those opportunities are seized by new innovators. They don't have access to the existing market. They've got to find somebody new. And so it's a lot more worth it to them to go pursue those new customers. And that's why we so often see that new markets are opened by new entrants, not by the existing entrants. Where we should be surprised is where existing entrants do suddenly have that epiphany. Hey, there's a market we're not serving at all over there that we never thought about before. Let's stop paying attention to our existing customers and go pursue those customers that we'd never thought of before.